my friends, it's Katty, and I'm here for week 3 of Obsessed with Katty and Christy. We're following a recipe this week, and we are using washi tape, twine, 2 types of thickers, 2 pieces of chipboard, and mixed media in some way. So that's our recipe for this week. This is going to be our last week using the Maggie Holmes Shine collection. Next time we're on, which will be in 2 weeks, we will be using another collection, so stay tuned for that. So basically I am going to start with the mixed media portion of our recipe, and I'm beginning with this stencil. This is a stencil, I believe this is Bowser Designs, and it's the mini cubist stencil. So I'm just using the stencil, and then I decided to go alongside here on the side of the layout, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the top of the layout. And then the papers that I had on my desk when before I brought this one in were the 4 sheets of paper that we are using, and it's going to be the that cut apart sheet which you see to my left, and then the 3 the white polka dots, and the script, sort of the, what do you call it, like the cursive letters paper. And there's another one, and it's another black and white one. I'm trying to see what it is, but I can't reach over to my layout. So it's the 3 black and white papers. So I decided, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to use strips of that 12 by 12 sheet that I have of the polka dot paper. So what I'm doing here, I used this stencil with modeling paste. Now I'm using it with just a Sharpie black pen, and I'm just outlining some of the stencils, and I think it creates like a cool sort of futuristic looking layout. And my layout is going to be about New Year's Eve, this past New Year's Eve. So yeah, so I thought it was cool, kind of futuristic, and you know, obviously when you think about New Year's, you think about the future and the new year and what's to come. So I thought it was appropriate. So I wanted to do that and just do something different and fun, something I've never done before. So this is something, you know, I've never done really before. And it's, you know, sometimes we forget, but our stencils are, you know, they can be used with modeling paste. They can be used with, you know, with a pen or marker, just like I did here. You can mist them. You know, there's a lot of uses for our stencils. So so we definitely sometimes don't take advantage of that, or at least I don't. So I thought I would on this layout. So now I'm taking a mix of the Heidi Swapp Color Shine in Cherry, and the it's one of the Lindy Stamp Gang mists, which is Chateau Rose. So I just kind of mix them up, and I'm just coloring in some of those little cubes that I traced with my Sharpie pen, and I'm just randomly coloring some of them. I will have to go back later and just color these with the Heidi Swapp in Cherry, because the pink ends up being too light for this layout. So I wanted something a bit brighter. So you can see it's kind of a dull pink. So I will have to go back and color it afterwards. So you guys will see me do that afterwards. So I'm just kind of filling in, and then what I decided to do is just take my little brush and just outline some of the squares that I had put modeling paste. You know, the first step that I did, which was using the modeling paste with my stencil. So I'm just outlining some of those squares with modeling paste with my brush, and then that's just going to define some of those squares as well. And in the end, it looks really cool. And I will add some more as I go, kind of wherever I feel like I need more, I will add. And I don't think I make you guys watch this whole thing. I'm pretty sure I turn the camera off at some point very soon, because I'm like, I don't think people want to watch me color in these squares for too long. So I believe I do turn the camera off. So yeah, so this was definitely a fun layout to create. It was just different for me, so it's really cool. And I'm not being perfect, you know, by any means. I'm just kind of coloring, and I'm just outlining things, and then I did some splatters there. With that little thin brush, you get really thin splatters, so I got those. I use that to get really thin splatters. And then I'm using my watercolor brush, and I'm taking some of that same paint, and I'm just sort of painting around the squares just to kind of define them a little bit more and add some more color between those lines, or between the squares, I should say. So I'm just going to do that in, you know, just a few areas just to sort of add some more color to the page. And you can see it just gives it a very soft and subtle addition of color in certain areas where they're just a little bit too white for me. So, and I did use the packaging technique earlier. I don't think I mentioned it with the Heidi Swap Color Shine, the yellow one, what is it called? Mustard. I did use the packaging technique with that. So, I came back to the layout and it was dry. So I decided to trim down my photo a bit because I wanted more of my to show, and I knew I was going to be matting the photo several times. So I just added a white border to it, a very thin white border to it. And then I think, okay, I have to use washi tape somehow. So I am ripping up some washi tape, just getting really thin strips. And I'm just going to add washi tape in 3 spots and just kind of ripped up washi tape just to add a little bit more, just a little bit more fun and texture. So I added in those 2 places, and I will add it in my cluster in the middle. So I take the 3 papers, there they are. It's that sort of cursive writing, it's the music notes and the polka dots. So what I do is I mat the photo on black, and then I'm going to mat the photo on the first paper, which is that music notes paper, and I'm kind of offsetting it. I'm not placing it straight, so I could kind of be at an angle, which is something I was not comfortable with up until a few days ago. So I am okay with angling photos now. I'm semi-okay with it. So I'm just matting. I matted the photo on black. I matted it on that first paper. Then I matted it on black again with a very thin border, and then I'm matting it on that polka dot paper, and again I'm matting it on black. You guys kind of get the point here. And then I'm going to put it on that script paper, and then I'm going to mat that on black as well. So it just really makes the edges kind of pop. And then I only mat half of it because I had that piece. So I was lazy and I don't want to go get another piece of black cardstock. So I just used the half, and I was totally fine with that. And I can totally say that I did that on purpose. I didn't, but you know, it was purposely done. So I thought I was going to use that little yellow cut apart, but I don't, with the pretty phrase on it, but I don't use that. And then I wanted to use one of the hellos because I knew I wanted to write out hello, something with, you know, hello 2016, because it was a New Year's Eve layout. So obviously we were celebrating the, you know, the coming of the new year. So I'm just looking through my stuff and trying to see what I have. So I decided to use these stickers. These are from the Shine collection, the Maggie Holmes Shine. Obviously that's the collection we're working with. These are from that collection, and I just wanted to use those to write out the 2016. And then trying to decide if I want to cut that up, and I decided not to use that. Decided it wasn't the, you know, I guess it wasn't the right yellow. Or it is the right yellow, but not to go with my background because I used that mustard color. And I don't know, it just wasn't looking right to me. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm going to add another yellow piece there, but you know, that one wasn't the right one. And I'm going to use the rotary phone, which is very random, but I figure why the heck not? Let's add a random embellishment up there in my cluster. Because where else am I going to use that rotary phone? So I'm pulling out the chipboard pieces because we have to use 2 chipboard pieces. So I've already used mixed media. I've already used twine because I used it in that that little tag that I punched out from the cut apart sheet. And then I've used so I've used mixed media, I've used twine, and I've used washi tape. So I have to use 2 pieces of chipboard, and I am going to use 3 pieces in the end. And then 2 different types of stickers. I used the 2016, and then I'm using these stickers to write out hello there 2016. And those are also from Maggie Holmes Shine collection. They're like the typewriter font, which they're really, really cute. So this frame, I thought about cutting it apart and kind of placing it behind my photo. I thought about placing it in the corners of my page, but and then I place it over my title, and then I decide I don't like it at all, not on this layout, so I remove it. So you're gonna see me place it down on over my title, and I even kind of, you know, fuss around with my title to get it a little bit tighter in there so I could fit it. But in the end, I just didn't like it, and I just completely took it off. It just wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me. So I cut off that top piece of that hello, and then here I go just messing with my title because I'm trying to add that frame on there. But again, it's not gonna make it. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I could have left it, but it was just kind of sticking out to me way too much. Like it just looked like it didn't belong there to me. I don't know. Sometimes, you know, we add things, we take them off, we add them again, we take them off, and that's how it is. Until you find, you know, something that makes you happy and that just that you want to stick to. So there's that other piece of washi which I'm going to stick back there, just to add a little bit more of that washi, and it just adds a little pop of black there. So here I go with the little cut apart sheet again. I think in the end the only cut apart that I end up using is that hello. Even though those are really, really cute little cut aparts, but that's the only one I end up using. So here I go. I was testing out the bubblegum pink from Dilutions. You can see I'm using it, but it wasn't the right shade of pink. It was bubblegum pink and it wasn't the pink to go with this collection. So I'm gonna color in a few of the squares in that bubblegum pink, and then I'm gonna go back over it with the Heidi Swapp cherry, which is the one to the left, which is more, it's a red, but it's like a dark pink is what it looks like on the paper. So it matched a whole lot better than the bubblegum pink because it was just too pink. Bubblegum pink kind of looks like the color of my ATG, which is standing right there to my left. And then the color in the pinks in this collection are not, they're more like a corally pink. So there I go, I colored in my squares, and then I still needed to color in a few more. I decided to take off the frame because I really just was not digging it. I wasn't happy with the frame there. So I removed it completely. That Fantastic is gonna go to so here I go, I bring out my ephemera pack again, and I'm gonna look through and see if there's anything else that I might want to use. And I decide I wanted to bring in some of this blue. I thought it needed another color. So I wanted to bring in, because everything on the page is black, white, and yellow, and pink. So I wanted to bring in this blue. I take that tag, which I'm gonna cut in half and use in 2 pieces. That little piece down there, that little strip of paper, which is really, really pretty. It's like a floral. I'm gonna cut that actually in half and use it on 2 spots. And then that little flower that is next to the hello, I'm gonna use as well. So, and here I go adding another piece of twine. So I've used twine twice, and I'm using yellow twine. That's just Yellow American Crafts twine. So that's gonna go there, and then the bottom of that tag I'll place at the bottom, and I will pop up that flower afterwards, and then I will also pop up that rotary foam just to give it a little bit of dimension. There I go. I just add a little bit of foam tape behind it, and I will add a piece of foam tape behind the little flower, the little blue flower. I don't know if I do it on camera. I might, but I'm not sure. So I decided to cut that piece in half because there's only that one piece of that really pretty floral pattern. So I just stuck one on top of the tag where it originally was before, and then one at the bottom. And then I take this this mist. This is a Lindy Stamp Gang mist, and this is a Tibetan Poppy Teal, and it's the perfect blue to go with those pieces from the ephemera pack. So I decided to do some ink splatters in that blue, in the blue shades. So yeah, And you can see that I did add a few more little squares here and there where I felt like it needed it with my stencil. So I did do that off camera. So I just sprinkled some of this blue to add a little bit, just a tad hint of blue. There I go, popping up that little flower. And I believe I am done. What else do I do here? Yep, I'm done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys go check out Christy's video. I'm going to have a link to her video below. Can't wait to see what she does this week. And we will be back in 2 weeks with a new collection. So stay tuned. I'll have the link to her video below, so go check her out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I love to hear from you guys. I hope you guys are having a great week. And I'll see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.